The Blue Hotel by Stephen Crane. Part 4. After the departure of Scully, the three men, with the cardboard still upon their knees, preserved for a long time an astounded silence. Then Johnny said, "That's the doggonest Swede I ever see." "He ain't no Swede," said the cowboy scornfully. "Well, what is he then?" cried Johnny. "What is he then?" "It's my opinion," replied the cowboy deliberately. "He's some kind of Dutchman." It was a venerable custom of the country to entitle as Swedes all light-haired men who spoke with a heavy tongue. In consequence, the idea of the cowboy was not without its daring. "Yes, sir," he repeated. "It's my opinion this feller is some kind of Dutchman." "Well, he says he's a Swede anyhow," muttered Johnny sulkingly. He turned to the Easterner. "What do you think, Mr. Blanc?" "Oh, I don't know," replied the Easterner. "What do you think makes him act that way?" said the cowboy. "Well, he's frightened." The Easterner knocked his pipe against the rim of the stove. "He's clearly frightened out of his boots." "What at?" cried Johnny and the cowboy together. The Easterner reflected over his answer. "What at?" cried the others again. "Oh, I don't know, but it seems to me this man has been reading dime novels, and he thinks he's right out in the middle of it, the shooting and stabbing and all." "But," said the cowboy, deeply scandalized, "this ain't Wyoming, nor none of them places. This is Nebraska." "Yes," added Johnny. "And why don't he wait till he gets out west?" The traveled Easterner laughed. "It isn't different there, even. Not in these days. But he thinks he's right in the middle of hell." Johnny and the cowboy mused long. "It's awful funny," remarked Johnny at last. "Yes," said the cowboy. "This is a queer game. I hope we don't get snowed in, because then we'd have to stand this here man being round us all the time. That wouldn't be no good." "I wish Pop would throw him out," said Johnny. Presently they heard a loud stamping on the stairs, accompanied by ringing jokes in the voice of old Scully, and laughter, evidently, from the Swede. The men around the stove stared vacantly at each other. "Gosh," said the cowboy. The door flew open, and old Scully, flushed and anecdotal, came into the room. He was jabbering at the Swede, who followed him, laughing bravely. It was the entry of the two roysters from a banquet hall. "Come now," said Scully sharply to the three seated men. "Move up and give us a chance at the stove." The cowboy and the Easterner obediently sided their chairs to make room for the newcomers. Johnny, however, simply arranged himself in a more indolent attitude, and then remained motionless. "Come, get over there," said Scully. "Plenty of room on the other side of the stove," said Johnny. "Do you think we want to sit in the draught?" roared the father. But the Swede here interposed with the grandeur of confidence. "No, no, let the boy sit where he likes," he cried in a bullying voice to the father. All right, said Scully, deferentially. The cowboy and the Easterner exchanged glances of wonder. The 5 chairs were formed in a crescent about one side of the stove. The Swede began to talk. He talked arrogantly, profanely, angrily. Johnny, the cowboy, and the Easterner maintained a morose silence, while old Scully appeared to be receptive and eager, breaking in constantly with sympathetic ejaculations. Finally, the Swede announced he was thirsty. He moved in his chair and said that he would go for a drink of water. "I'll get it for you," cried Scully at once. "No," said the Swede contemptuously. "I'll get it for myself." He arose and stalked with the air of an owner off into the executive parts of the hotel. As soon as the Swede was out hearing, Scully sprang to his feet and whispered intensely to the others. "Upstairs he thought I was trying to poison him." "Say," said Johnny, "this makes me sick. Why don't you throw him out in the snow?" "Why, he's all right now," declared Scully. "It was only that he was from the East, and he thought this was a tough place, that's all. He's all right now." The cowboy looked with admiration upon the Easterner. "You were straight," he said. "You were on that there Dutchman." "Well," said Johnny to his father, "he may be all right now, but I don't see it. Other time he was scared, but now he's too fresh." Scully's speech was always a combination of Irish brogue and idiom, Western twang and idiom, and scraps of curiously formal dictation taken from the storybooks and newspapers. He now hurled a strange mass of language at the head of his son. "What do I keep? What do I keep? What do I keep?" he demanded in a voice of thunder. He slapped his knee impressively to indicate that he himself was going to make a reply, and that all should heed. "I keep a hotel," he shouted. "A hotel, do you mind? A guest under my roof has sacred privileges. He is to be intimidated by none. Not one word shall he hear that would prejudice him in favour of going away. I'll not have it. There's no place in this here town where they can say they ever took in a guest of mine because he was afraid to stay here." He wheeled away suddenly upon the cowboy and the Easterner. "Am I right?" "Yes, Mr. Scully," said the cowboy. "I think you're right." "Yes, Mr. Scully," said the Easterner. "I think you're right."